want to do a video tonight on my impressions of some of these suicidal mass murderers that have been coming out. I did a little research today and was going through different ones in the past, and I found that about half of them were trying to become infamous, which again, if you don't understand what that word means, it doesn't mean famous, it means famous for doing something bad or dastardly. So like Billy the Kid was infamous, Hitler was infamous. So it's people who want to become famous by doing something bad. So like for instance, the Virginia Tech guy, he said that he mentions martyrs like this guy and this guy, and he was referring to the guys who did the Columbine massacre. Those were the original guys who kind of set the trend for the next 20 years of these shootings. The guy who did Sandy Hook, the police found that he downloaded videos related to Columbine and other 2 videos of suicide by gunshot. They stated that they went in and investigated and found that he had created a 7 by 4 foot size spreadsheet listing around 500 murders and the weapons they used, which was considered to have taken years of work to have been used by him as a score sheet. So the guy who did Sandy Hook, for years he worked and researched murderers to get better at it and figure out how they did it and what their techniques were. Then the guy who was in Virginia, went after the reporters. He said that he was provoked by the Charleston church shooting done by another man, and that even though he made comments about that and it occurred 2 months before, and he described the church shooting as the tipping point, but my anger has been building steadily. I've been a human powder keg for quite a while, just waiting to go boom. He also claimed that Jehovah had told him to act and expressed an admiration for respective perpetrators of the Columbine and the Virginia Tech mass shootings. So again, you have a guy who has tried to be on TV his whole life, never quite made it. He decides this is how he's going to end it and make himself famous. The guy who did this thing in Oregon yesterday, he wrote about the guy who did the thing in Virginia with the news reporters. Sorry, I don't use their names ever because I don't want them to be infamous. I'm just saying these are what they're doing and this is why they're doing it so we can understand better. Okay, so this is what he wrote exactly. On an interesting note, I've noticed that so many people like him are all alone and unknown, yet when they spill a little blood, the whole world knows who they are. A man who was known by no one is known by everyone. His face splashed across every screen, his name across the lips of every person on the planet, all in the course of one day. Seems the more people you kill, the more you're in the limelight. Okay? Exact words in a post of the kid in Oregon who took so many lives. So they're looking to commit murder-suicide and to make themselves famous. And you know, and they all have different issues and stuff. They're all different in some respect. But that's the one thing about half of these gunmen share, is the fact that they want to commit suicide and kill as many people as possible so that people will remember them, because they never felt remembered. Okay, so they're going for fame or infamy in the end. Something else to bear in mind, in a 2002 documentary, a point is made that Canada is on our border and they have similar access to guns. They watch the same movies, they play the same violent video games, but they have far less gun violence than America does in Canada. Even though our cultures are fairly close since, you know, the Americas were founded. And the person who is saying that is, one of the big differences is in Canada, when there's a murder or a mass shooting, they do not sensationalize it. They may mention it on the news, just like any other news story, a short little tidbit, and then they move on. They don't spend three 24-hour news networks breaking it apart, running footage over and over again of people running from it like we do. So in their culture, they don't sensationalize murderers. They're offended by it. And that is what we should be. We should be offended by what the actions of these people did. In fact, a lot of people come on and they point out things and complain. They don't come up with a solution. Well, I thought about it and I have a solution for this problem. It won't solve all the mass murderers, but at least it'll get these kids who want to kill themselves and become famous to decide it's not worth it to try to do mass killings. And the way we do that is we make it to where the news outlets, the 24-hour news outlets, the newspapers, the magazines, and any other like syndicated news outlet, you know, the different ones that are online and stuff that are like just all they are is news, that they cannot show pictures of the murderer and they cannot use the murderer's real name. They, you know, they can just say it's the blah, blah, blah shooter. Now, I know what you're going to say. Oh, that goes against the First Amendment of the United States. Well, guess what? We already have rules in place about not showing obscenity. We have profanity rules built into a lot of these things. We have rules about what words can be said and can't be said by different news organizations and television stations. We already have standards in place that all these organizations have to abide by that have come about through laws and other things, and the FCC controlling some of them. I know some of these are cable and some of these are written, so the FCC doesn't have control. But what we need to do is make them understand that they can use the guy's name, but we're going to fine him. So, you know, monetarily, it's not worth saying his name to them. Again, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. It's already been said because that's going to do harm to people. So your right to freedom of speech is not protected in that sense. This is not that far going forth to say you can't use a murderer's picture or his name because that will incite other people to do murder to try to become famous. So again, we got a problem here. I got a way to solve some of it, not all of it, but this will help solve some of these mass murders by letting them know that, hey, you know what, even if I shoot a bunch of people, no one's going to still know who I am. I might as well just take a bunch of this or that and just do it by myself. So just an idea out there, throwing it out there for you guys.